I've been wanting to talk to you two for a long time.
Yeah.
Because you all have the takes on politics that people should listen to. And we thought we were going to have to do the first one of these by Skype, but we happen to be in LA, so we thought this would be a good chance to do a face-to-face conversation with you two and figure out what the heck is going on in American politics, because y'all are paying attention to this more than just about anybody.
Oh no, we are hawks. We are on it. We are black lady hawks.
So I listened to the Final Word podcast, and the Final Word podcast has more information in it in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes than most people will get in a day.
Thank you.
And it's funny. It's
we
fun.
Try.
It's
we
fun.
try. We try to give you the news that you need.
That we think you need.
That we think you need. Yeah.
All right.
As much of it as possible.
All right. So look. Okay. So there's a lot going on in this whole period. We know the President of the United States, Donald Trump, just got impeached recently.
Somber. I mean, very
I'm
somber.
very somber.
If Nancy Pelosi was here, she would not look kindly upon your
Look
reaction.
at that
wouldn't
mama
do
look, right?
I would never do that.
You know how to act in front of Miss Nancy. Okay.
So what do you think? So Nancy Pelosi, when that happened, she had some pretty intense reactions
Yes.
on that podium after this thing happened. What do you think about Nancy Pelosi?
You know what? I think she is in control of her caucus. You know, and people aren't used to it. All right, but here's the thing that's amazing to me. It's okay for Donald Trump to be in control of the entire Republican Party.
To change their platform,
Absolutely.
the basis of it completely. But let her get up there and be like, hush up. And suddenly, you know, she's some sort of like demon. I think that's exactly it. She's in control of her caucus. She's got the absolute right attitude, and she's making sure that there's so many new people.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to control. I mean, the House, that's 535 or 435 people. That's a lot of people, you know.
Do you not think she's putting an end to foolishness up and down the line a little bit? Like she's taking on the president, she's taking on the Senate Majority Leader, she's taking on the press, and she's taking on Democrats inside of her caucus.
Yeah,
And
we need her to.
Yeah.
That's her job. That is the position. And we wouldn't be questioning it if she were a man.
That's
we would
right.
say he is in control.
Masterful.
He's mad, right? Wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We would.
So then you probably get mad at me for saying that she looks like a boss too when she's doing this. I mean,
No, I do love
I
that.
like that. I love further with that.
I love that she
Jamal.
could just give a look and be like,
Yeah.
hush it. And people are like, yes, ma'am.
She's got that
Like,
withering stare.
and now she's got this like pen thing, which is like the hand of the king in Game of Thrones or something. Where like
You gotta know what
it's
day
her
it is.
power,
You
right?
gotta check the pin.
It's her
Yes.
power.
Is it a flag day or a speaker day? It's a flag day.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
No, it's pretty good. So Nancy Pelosi's been doing her thing. You also have been paying attention to the Trump presidency for the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
Who are the big people that you pay attention to? You think people aren't paying enough attention to, but they're worth watching and keeping their eye on?
I really appreciate Kamala coming forward and saying, you know what, we really do need to pay attention to getting Stephen Miller out of this White House.
Thank you.
You know, we got Steve Bannon out. We got some of the worst offenders out, but we
brought in
let
some new offenders.
we brought in some new ones, but we let Steve Miller stay, and he slipped in, and you know, and with this child separation policy, he's a white nationalist in our White House.
That I don't understand every single day that isn't a story, and that we aren't putting more pressure on to not have a white nationalist literally in the White House writing speeches and policy.
And why do you call him a white nationalist?
Because he's a white nationalist. Because he is quite clearly anti-immigration, anti any ethnic group. Feels that America should be an ethno-state.
Yeah.
When it ain't never been. And he's vulgar and disgusting, and I think rather ignorant.
So if you ever, DC is like one of these small towns like LA is, you could very well find yourself like waiting for a table at a restaurant with Stephen Miller, sitting next to you at the
If
bar.
I could curse,
What would you say to Stephen Miller if you ran into him?
First of all, we would ask to join him.
Oh, yeah.
And we sit down and join. We'd love to have lunch with you, and then we'd order everything expensive.
Yes.
And we aren't paying.
No.
And then dine and dash.
We would definitely dine and dash, but during that time we would talk to him. And I think that what we would do is ask him a lot of questions. We can get Socratic, you know what I'm saying? And be like, what's going on with you? And just for me personally, and I think you might agree, I would enjoy making him extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Without actually being threatening. Just because what I know is that ultimately bigotry is about people being afraid. Afraid of their own loss of power and afraid of other. And so I know that having two black ladies on either side of him would make him so uncomfortable that it would be the best.
All right, so the Trump administration has been filled with characters like this. So you mentioned Bannon,
Oh,
Miller.
DeVos.
Becky.
Oh, you know, you're from Michigan, so you know the DeVos family is a
They're
big Michigan family.
gross. They're gross and disgusting. And the things that she's doing, like one of the first moves she makes when she becomes Secretary of Education is to try to protect accused rapists. Yeah, that's the problem in education.
Yeah.
There are too many accused rapists not being treated well. Like she's just in every move. Anybody with anything to do with child separation.
Yeah.
All of those people.
Yeah, Rick Perry is another person that we need to look at after this administration.
That's not a name that you hear people get fired up about.
That's
What's wrong with
please.
Rick Perry?
Let's
What
talk
ain't
about
wrong with
what
Rick Perry?
ain't wrong in terms of him,
Can't
in
even
terms of
dance.
making deals for supporters in Ukraine and people. You know, it's like every ounce of Rick Perry. I mean, from the bottom, the soles of his feet to the top of his head is dirty.
What?
Mnuchin is sneaking around here, and you don't hear enough talk about him
Yeah.
and all the things they
White
do.
House Chief of Staff.
Yeah.
I mean, White House Treasury Secretary.
Exactly.
Right.
Like there's so much corruption from I think Elaine Chao, married to Moscow Mitch.
Right, Mitch McConnell.
Like they're having contracts funneled to Kennedy or
What
to
about
Kentucky.
Rudy Giuliani? Trying to
Oh
run
my
Ukraine?
goodness. Okay, so the fact that Rudy Giuliani is running around the world, okay, out there on the world stage, actually representing the United States in terms of trying to dig up dirt on Trump's political opponent, and we're still letting it go by on a day-to-day basis.
Because there's a confirmation process. Like there are ways that you get to represent. You don't just go out and be like, I'm representing U.S. government. And the fact that we have allowed this sort of circumventing of every single rule, procedure, law, norm that we've ever had is because the Trump up top, his crazy is so crazy that I think it makes it hard for people to figure out how to focus on this. But in the meantime, in every one of these departments, every cabinet position, they are raping those cabinets. We are losing the brain. We have a brain drain from these departments that we may never recover from. You know, and that is upsetting to me that we just are not paying attention to that enough.
All right, so if you look at all the polling, what the polling says, the American people think that there's all the problems you've talked about. The American people roughly agree with you, 55%. Even some people who like Donald Trump would say they think there's some crooked stuff happening inside the administration, right? But what about the Democrats? Are the Democrats getting ready to take on Donald Trump with any force? Is there anybody out there that you think is going to be good at this?
I hope so. But let me tell you something. I am concerned. I am very, very concerned. Look, I like Elizabeth Warren. I like Bernie Sanders. I like Joe Biden. I will vote blue no matter who. You just put them up in front of me, anybody to try to beat Donald Trump. But
we've already beaten him.
We have. That's true. That's nothing but true.
Have we beaten him?
Well, this is my thing. I mean, in terms of the last election, in terms of people, the number of votes. And here's the thing. I believe the roots of this problem started with letting the Supreme Court pick George W. to be our president. That should never have gone down. So, but now here we are, and I think the thing we have to really focus on is election integrity. Because I do believe that any one of these people can beat him, not if they cheat, steal, and enough of us don't vote.
Yeah, they knock enough of us off of the
right.
voter rolls in all of these critical states.
And I think in states that you don't think of as being critical, I think that we have to be vigilant about our voting process and about protecting it. And that means calling all of your representatives. That means volunteering at the polls. That means volunteering and really being active in getting people registered and making sure that you're registered. Because
And really in your personal life as well.
Yeah.
It's, literally going to all your friends and family and being like, are you registered?
But the president, listen, it's not a secret. The president does not tell the truth in public.
Right.
Right? I mean, he's got thousands of, maybe 15,000 mistruths that Washington Post has chronicled. He doesn't tell the truth in public. So you got to believe the campaign will, on social media and on the internet, will say things about Democrats that are going to be, whether or not they're true or not, going to be big. We know that he's invited in help from the Ukrainians. We know the Russians are participating
And he's asked
in the
China,
election. So the question is, so all these people are coming, so that means that Democrats have to have something to offer the country because we know the negative attacks are going to come at the Democrats.
Yeah.
Are you hearing things you like? Medicare for all, Andrew Yang's universal basic income
I
idea?
wish he'd done a better job of explaining that during the debates. Because I think when I've heard him speak about that universal income, it made me cry once. Like in an interview I saw him do where he talked about it, and I was like, that is so great. But I feel like
Because
he
you wanted
has
that $1,000.
because I really just needed that $1,000 that week. But I think it's a great idea and it's a powerful idea. And but I feel like the way that it's come across in the debates has been like a payoff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He gets very quippy about it in the debates. It comes off very short and not thought out.
I think that I will say, from my point of view, I think trying to appeal to Republicans is stupid and is a waste of your time. But yet the Democratic Party seems hell bent. Always. This is my big complaint with
You
the
talked about
DNC.
taking back the Democratic Party. I've heard you say you want to take it back.
Repeatedly, because I don't
From
think Tom
who
Perez didn't have
and
that
give
vote.
it to who?
I think we have to say, as members, if you're a member of the Democratic Party, right, like just a regular person, that's where you get money, you vote down the line generally, whatever. It is time for us to demand and get involved with who we were at the debate for who was going to be the new DNC chair and in DC, and I think that we're just now figuring out. A lot of people are just now figuring out. That's your party. It's not. It's our club.
Right.
It's our organization. It's just like when people complain about the actors unions. I go, well, that's our union. We have a responsibility to be active in it.
And then we need the people who represent it to have the correct platform.
Right.
I am sick and tired of fighting our own. I should have to walk in my own house and fight you.
Yeah, I mean,
It shouldn't go down like that.
So people switching parties is something you don't particularly like.
No.
I guess.
Well, here's
One
the
of these
thing.
Democratic members
Well,
of
go
Congress.
ahead with your bad self. Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord's
This is the thing,
Let go.
They shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like there are too many.
That's
That's
your
my issue. Is that why? And this is a critique I do have of Nancy Pelosi and of Tom Perez and of all the DNC leadership. Is that I always forget his name. Lipinski, Dan Lipinski in Illinois, who is a Republican, masquerading as a Democrat because he couldn't win in that district as a Republican. So what he does is he puts a D behind his name, shows up to some meetings, and he's anti-choice.
Yeah.
He's anti-immigration. He is not. So this is my problem. We as a party, I feel like the Democrats, the leadership, gets real wishy-washy with this concept of Big Tent.
Yeah.
And either we have values and we have principles or we don't. And from my opinion, you are not a Democrat if you're anti-choice.
Right.
There's another party where you can be. It's
Yeah.
not, but
that's not being Big Tent.
That's not, but this is the thing.
But what if the only way for a person with a D behind their name to win is to be anti-choice, and Nancy Pelosi needs them so that she can be speaker?
Well, here's my problem. That's playing politics with my body and my life, and that's not okay with me. And I do think that matters. And if, like, it does matter. Either you have, and if people would be more loyal to this party if they felt like the party had anything to be loyal to. It is the waffling. It is the we'll take a little bit of this, a little bit. You're running right now, Bernie, so you can be a Dem right now, and then you can drop it the second after the election. That to me I find that offensive, and it's not controlling our party.
Okay, so the two of you do a lot of things together. You host radio shows, you host a podcast, you work in other forms of media, you got
Write,
projects.
we produce, we do a bunch of things.
You write, produce. All right, so let me ask you, you probably spend a lot of time together. How often do you disagree?
We disagree.
I would say daily.
Yeah. We disagree about Bernie.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the disagreement on Bernie?
Well, she just said it. She would prefer that he not be in the Democratic Party.
Well,
and run and then go back to being an independent.
If you're gonna be in it, be in it. Don't be in it when it's convenient to use the machinery and the money, and then jump out when it's time to collect and make that machinery and money. That's I think unethical.
That's controversial. A lot of people in the Bernie community would say,
because that you did nothing to make it. And I think that if you can't win on your ideas, then you can't win on your ideas.
But then, he's
but you feel differently.
I feel differently because he is the person who is invigorating most of our young people, and I'm talking young people of color. He is getting people will get people to the ballot.
I think Warren's doing that too.
But here's the thing. I would love to see a Bernie Warren ticket.
That's our girlfriend.
I know, but I would. I know.
It's
It's very
real quick.
I'm very
That is not. No.
But I would.
No, they out here calling them both socialists. There's no way that I do not believe that's.
All right, so let me finish up here. One name that keeps coming up when people talk about vice presidents, particularly if you think somebody like Joe Biden might end up being the Democratic nominee, or Bernie Sanders, is Stacey Abrams.
Yes!
Love her. Would love it.
All right, so y'all are the pro Stacey
Absolutely.
Abrams.
Absolutely, because I believe that she should be our next president too.
Okay.
She's amazing, and I love that what she's chose to do. And I know a lot of people wanted to run for Senate and all that, but I believe that what she chose to do in terms of creating a voting organization to make sure that we can protect our vote and try to make sure we don't have an election that is questionable in any way, and to organize it. But I respect that she's like, no, we have to protect this election.
Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos. And head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.